Hey, good morning, class. So today we're looking at finance, financial maths. We're on exercise. The homework was for exercise 12.7. So we're here now. Okay. But this is the lesson for exercise 12.8, not so. Exercise 12.7 is on page 278. Okay, so I've got all the odd numbers already. So let's go with it. So the exchange rate given in the table and this otherwise was using the exchange rate on the table that we discussed in yesterday's lesson. Okay, a South African company imports goods from the European Union at a cost of 850,000 euros. Calculate the cost in rands using the exchange rate given in the table. So 1 euro costs us 891 cents. Okay. Of course, as we indicated, this was a good couple of years ago. Okay, 13 years ago. So if you're looking at 850,000 euros, how do I get from 1 to 850,000? To multiply it. So 8,91 multiplied by 850,000. So in other words, hang on, 850,000 multiplied by 8,91. You 7 million 573,500. Okay. Let's look at number 3. In number 3, we are told that the company wants to import electronic equipment and has two possible options. The price per unit in Hong Kong is 750 Hong Kong dollar. The price per unit for the same equipment manufactured in Germany costs 93 euros. Calculate the best option using the exchange rate given in the table. So what we need to do is we need to get it in the same currency to do comparison. Because why? 1,000 Zim dollars is not stronger than 100 rand. You understand? So we have to have it in the same currency for us to do comparison. Likewise, $20 US dollars is not the same as 100 rand. So it's far weaker. Okay? The rands, of course. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the Hong Kong dollar to rands, and I'm going to then change the euros to rands as well, and then I do the comparison. Okay. So the Hong Kong dollar, what is the exchange rate? So 1 Hong Kong dollar is equal to 0,87 cents. Not so. So this is 750 Hong Kong dollars. So how do I move from 1 to 750? Multiply. So 0,07 multiplied by 750. So 0,87 multiplied by 750. It's going to give us 652 rand and 50 cents. Okay. Then we said that 1 euro, in our previous calculation, we said 1 euro is equal to 8 rand and 91 cents. So 93 euros is equal to 8 times 81, 8,91 multiplied by 93. Gives us 828 rand and 63 cents. So which one is going to be a better option to buy from? Hong Kong. Okay, therefore, Hong Kong okay. Hong Kong will be the better option. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Vespill travels to India for a holiday. She decides to take 12,000 rand in cash for expenses and spend. Calculate how many rupees she will be able to take with her on her holiday. What's the exchange rate between rupees and rands? 1 rupee? Huh? Equals 0,15. Just put all you, rupee. So now you see, now we have rands that we must convert to rupees now. Okay? So what we do is, it goes under the rands. Okay? So we ask ourselves, okay? How do we get from 0,15 to 12,000? I must be multiplying it by something, not so. So what I do is I say on the calculator, I do it on the calculator, 12,000 divided by 0.15. You're 80,000. Not so. So in other words, 0,15 multiplied by 80,000 gives you 12,000. Not so. So when I do 1 times 80,000. Therefore, she will get 80,000 rupees. Okay. You all okay with that? What's wrong? What don't you understand, man? You see, we must ask ourselves, if you got X here, or not, so, if I got 2 here and I got 8 here. Then you ask yourselves, okay, 2 multiplied by what is 8? 4. Not so. How do you get 4? I said 8 divided by 2. So, how do I get this value? I say 12,000 divided by 0,15 gives me 80,000. You understand? Anything else? Let's carry on. So, Neely plans a business trip to Moscow. Okay. So, Neely is probably representing the BRICS and all that. No? A budget for hotel accommodation is 600 rand per night. How many Russian rubles will she be able to spend so that she keeps within her budget? So how much? What's the conversion rate between the exchange rate between the ruble? 0,22 Russian rubles is equal to 1 rand. Okay, I don't know what the symbol is there. Okay. So if she's spending 600 rand a night, You sure this is the given thing?
Yes, sir. 0.22.
Is equal to 1 rand. Okay. So that's going to give you 600 rand. So how do I get from 1 to 600? Times it. So 0.22 multiplied by 600. 0.22 times 600 gives us 132 Russian ruble. Okay. So that should be a yes.
One Russian ruble is equal to 22 cents.
That's why I was confused about that. And I asked you people to say yes.
What is that project?
0.22. So 600 rand goes under the rands. So how do I get from 0.22 to 600? You're multiplying by what? 600 over 0.22. Gives us 2727,2727. So in other words, two seven two seven comma 27. So if I multiply this by that value, the Russian ruble will be 2,727 rand and 27 cents. Okay, that makes more sense. Because I know our currency is stronger than this at this stage. Okay, I don't know what is standing at this point. Sanelli returns to South Africa. Isn't it at the exchange rate again? So here we are told that Sanelli returns to South Africa with 12,500 Russian rubles. Okay, so 1 Russian ruble is equal to 22 cents. So she's returning with 12,500 Russian rubles. So how do I move from 1 to 12,500? You multiply. So 0.22 multiplied by 12,500. She exchanges the foreign currency for a local South African rand. Okay, so we are already doing that calculation. That's 0.22 multiplied by 12,500. That gives us 2,750. Okay, you guys understand? Any confusion? Alright, let's look at the next question. Note, South Africa, like most other countries, import crude oil that is used to produce petrol, paraffin, diesel, and many other products. Okay, like plastic and those things. The cost of petrol is dependent on two important factors: the price of crude oil, which is sold in US dollars, and the exchange rate of the rands and the dollar. Okay, the rand and dollar. We are now told that the Brent crude oil cost $92 a barrel at the stage when the petrol price was R8.50. Didn't we do this one yesterday? A similar one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So calculate the expected increase in petrol if the cost of crude oil is increased to 12% per $12 at $120 per barrel. So how do we work out percentage increase? I said it's going to be the difference over the original times I. So I'm working out the increased price of petrol, but it's dependent on this. Not so. There's going to be 120 minus 92 over, what's the original price? 92 times 100. So that gives us 120 minus 92 over 92 times 100. Gives you 3,43. 43%. That's all. So which means to say the price of petrol is also going to increase by 30,43%. Can you see that, people? No? So increase percentage is going to be 8.50 multiplied by 30,43%. Okay? Then we take this amount and then we add it to the what's the name? To the 8.50. Okay, you guys understand? That is that value. So we got 8.50 multiplied by the 30,43%. Then divided by 100. The increased price is 2 rand and 59 cents. So we add that to 8.50, which means 11,09. So it's 11 rand and 9 cents per liter, approximately. Okay. That brings us basically to the end of exercise 12.7. People, for homework, I would like you guys to do 12.7, the even numbers. Okay. Now we're looking at examples for 12.8, and 12.8 is on page 90 to 80 to 82. To 82. However, we're doing the examples, and I'm reading from page 280. See? 280. Okay. Thank you. Right. Timelines. So let's read what they say about timelines. So basically, what happens in reality, people, huh? Say, me as a teacher now, I have a 5,000 rand. Huh? And I invest that money. Okay? But now comes June. So now it's December. Huh? So what we now? October. Now, next year, June, things are tight. So what do? I need to take the money out of the savings account. Not so? So, because I'm taking it out of the savings account, that money doesn't lie dormant, or it doesn't lie for a full period of time. And that is basically what happens in reality. Yes? Yes, thank you. So one thing, when you guys are now of the working class, okay, and you guys have a 5,000 rand, then 2 years later you probably add another 10,000 rand to the total. Another 3 years later you got another 50,000 rand you add to the total. And after another 4 years you got another 100,000 rand you add to the total. So after 20 years you can calculate how much money you have in your account. But what happens is that amount didn't stay the same amount that you have deposited. Okay, what happens in reality? You deposit, you do another deposit, or you do a withdrawal, you do another deposit and another deposit. Also, what happens is the interest rate changes as well. So what happens is if you start doing the investment, they maybe give you a 4% interest. Okay? And then the next year, or 4 years later, they say, okay, the interest rate went up. So now they give you 4.5%. Okay, and sometimes the interest rate comes down, and the compound changing, that changes and so on. Okay, so that's basically what happens. So let's see what they say about timelines. A timeline can be used to provide a visual representation of a problem when there are several deposits and withdrawals and changing interest rates. The timeline helps to summarize information in a structured and orderly way. Note, the subscript on T indicates the time period. In this example, T3 represents the end of 3 years. So if I got T8, it will be at the end of 8 years and so on. T0 represents the time when the account was first opened. Okay. Which is also the initial deposit. Okay. So let's look at the first one. A savings account is opened and 7,000 Rand is deposited. So when I see a lot of values and all of those things, I go and I draw a timeline. Okay. And where does the timeline start? If I make a deposit, is it 1 year later? No. If I make a deposit, I call this T0. And open a savings account with a 7,000 Rand deposit. So I say 7,000 Rand. 3 years later, 3,000 Rand is added to the savings account. So I put here T3 plus 3,000. What if I had said 3 years later, 3,000 Rand is withdrawn from the account? What would I have written there? Minus 3,000. So a positive we indicate with the plus and a withdrawal we indicate with a minus. Okay. 2 years after the second deposit, that means 2 years after this year. A third deposit of 8,500 Rand is made. 2 years later, that takes you to T5. A third deposit of 8,500 says plus 8,500 Rand is made. Calculate the total accumulated amount, calculate the total amount accumulated in the savings account after 8 years. So we're going to end where? Here. If the interest paid is 9.5% per annum compounded annually. Now, majority of the time, the compounding on this is going to be, the interest on timeline is normally compounded annually. Okay. It's compound interest, I meant to have said. Very seldom do they use simple interest. Okay. The interest rate is 9.5% per annum compound interest. Okay, write that down quickly. And I'll show you now how to do the calculation. Okay. Now, people, there's many ways. There's many ways of approaching this timeline. Okay. And what I found over the years was to do it as follows. To me, this is the easiest of all the ways. Okay. So what I do is I consider firstly the formula. What's my formula I'm going to use? I is equal to P into 1 plus I to the exponent. Okay. So what I do is I consider what happens to 7,000 Rand for the duration of time. So what happens to 7,000 Rand? Is growing an interest all the way to the end. Not so. So what I say is A is equal to P, which is 7,000 Rand into 1 plus. What's my interest rate? 0,095 to the exponent. How many years is it from T0 to T8? 8 years. You see that, people? So now, we're going to consider the 3,000 Rand to the end. So you write down what you're going to write here in your books. Okay? Okay, so what happens? 3,000 Rand into 1 plus 0,095. And how many years is it from T3 to T8? 5 years. Can you see that, people? Now you write that down for me, what you're going to do from there. Okay, so what do we write here? Plus 8,500 into 1 plus 0,095, the exponent. Okay. So now it is a matter of punching it into the calculator. So it will be 7,000 into 1 plus 0,095 to the exponent 8 plus 3,000 into 1 plus 0,095 to the exponent 5 plus 0,8500 into 1 plus 0,095 to the exponent 3. You guys understand? The wrong answer I'm getting. You got the wrong answer. Maybe I got the wrong answer. The answer is 30,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I made a mistake. So let's see. It's 7,000. Here's my mistake. I see it already. It must be to the exponent 8. Here we go. Sorry about that. So it's going to be 30,000. 350 Rand. 72 cents. Do you guys understand? Yes, my girl. I thought you were going to ask you something mathematical. 2 reasons why you guys come to my class. Not for maths. To charge your phone and to buy popper. That's all. Yeah, go to the toilet. In the beginning of the lesson, always. That's it. Okay. Let's look at another one. Here we're looking at changing interest rates. The interest rates seldom stay the same for a very long, and it is quite common for the interest rate to change periodically. Okay. Especially if money is left in the savings account for a long period of time. Okay. If I got money in the savings account, then I can't sleep. No? I only sleep when I have no money. No way. Okay. People, we are told that we are on page what now? 21. So 50,000 rands invested for a period of 12 years. Okay, so of course, timeline. That's how people start with the timeline. So 50,000 rand is at T 0. Is invested for a period of 12 years. So that's going to be T 12. Are you all with me? The interest rate is 7% per annum compounded annually for the first 3 years. So that takes you to T3. You'll always notice that I put the interest rate under the line, okay? So 7% per annum compounded annually for the first 3 years. The interest rate then changed to 8.5% per annum compounded annually for the next 4 years. So that takes you to T. The next 4 years. 3 plus 4 is 7. 8.5%. At this stage, the interest rate increased to 10% per annum compounded annually for the last 5 years. That goes 10%. Calculate the total value of the investment at the end of the 12-year period. Okay. Yes? That's 1/1. You guys don't have to write this for now, né? Because I later on in grade 11, then that actually makes a difference. Okay. So it will be compounded monthly and daily and quarterly but for now, you just write your interest rate. When you see me write 1/1, don't tell me every time it doesn't belong. To you it doesn't matter. Because that is compounded annually. But I write it so often that I don't think I wrote it in the first one because I remembered not to. Huh? Oh, I did, sorry. I thought I didn't. My mistake. When you guys write something in the exam that you're not supposed to, and by questions you're supposed to write things and you leave it blank, how do you get upset like you getting upset? How was it feel? Huh? And when I cry at night, then my wife doesn't know I'm crying. Huh? Like you hurting my feelings here. Right? People, what do we do here? What's my formula going to use? R equal? Yeah? Try to speak Afrikaans. A is equal to P into 1 plus I to the N. Verstaan julle? Yeah, okay. So, come people. Go for it. Look here. Again, they're using your calculator. I just hope you see each other's calculators, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, keep it there. No, right. Here we go. So we go. 50,000. What's going to happen to 50,000? Can I take it straight to the end? No, why not? There's interest rate changes. Can you see that, people?
Yes.
What I do is I say, okay. And if you want to, okay, rather not. So you say, okay, what happens to 50,000 rand? Can it pull an interest for 3 years? So what do I write? 50,000 into 1 plus 0.07 to the exponent 3. Now what happens is, people, if I work that out, then that is actually the principal at this value, at that point. Can you see that, people? That's the principal at that point. Then what happens to that principal? There is an interest, yes? For 4 years. Can you see that, people? So that's your principal times. If I draw this interest factor here, what would it be? 1 plus 0, 0.085 to the exponent 4 years. You understand? I'm moving too slow. Yeah, I'll move a bit faster. Okay. Then what's going to happen? Now, this whole thing here is the principal now at this point. Can you see that, people? So what do I write now? That must be multiplied by 1 plus 0, 1, 0 to the exponent. Because that from the to the is 5 years now. You see 5 years, that is 4 years, that is 3 years. 5 plus 4 plus 3 is 12. Okay. So punch that into your calculator. Yes? Sorry? Before the brackets? No. Because this year is the principal for that period. Can you see here? Then together, that makes the principal at that point for that period. Can you see? That is why it's P times your interest factor. And then, this whole thing now is your principal at that point for the loss. So what you can do is you can work out each part, or you leave it just so and you work it out once. Okay. You'll get the same amount both ways, but amount of work and marks. Did you guys get it?
Good morning, mathematicians. Come on, guys. Yes, thank you, guys.
Right? Let's plug this into the calculator. It's 50,000 into 1 plus 0.07, the exponent 3, into 1 plus 0.085, the exponent 4, into 1 plus 0.1, the exponent 5. So I get 136,711 rand and 8 cents. You all agree with that? 136, 711 and 8 cents. Okay. Any confusion there? Let's look at the last one. We'll break. This is on page 82. That's correct. Huh? 282. Okay. So here we are told that a savings account is opened with an initial deposit. What does initial mean? Starts, so the first, okay? So again, timeline. Made with an initial deposit of 13,500. 2 years later, second deposit of 25,700 rand is made. So that takes you to where? T2. A deposit, so I indicate that with a plus. 25,700 rand. 5 years after the account was opened, so that takes you to where? 5 years after the account was opened, not 5 years later. Does it make sense, people? 5 years after the account was opened. So it's T5. 18,400 rand is withdrawn. Minus 18,000. The interest rate for the first 3 years. So that takes you, the interest rate for the first 3 years. So that takes you to when? T3 years. So what do I do? So move this over a bit. The interest rate for the first 3 years. Is 9% per annum compounded annually. The interest rate is decreased to 8% per annum for the remaining period. So it's going to decrease to 8% per annum. Calculate the balance in the savings account at the end of 8 years. So this takes you to T. Okay, so this timeline is very busy. No? Like some of you girls are very busy. No? You guys do music and all of those things. Right. So where do we start? We start with this 13,500 rand. What's going to happen to it? You're going to go till? Can I go straight to the end? No. Why? There's an interest change. So I'm going to draw grounded here, T3, and then to the end. Not so. So what formula, girlfriend? What formula do I use? Compound formula. So A is equal to P into 1 plus I. Right, so for the first part, it's going to be 13,500 into, carry on, 1 plus 0,09 to the exponent, 3. You see that, people? Which Jeffrey student? Oh, it's taking it early. For a long weekend. Right, then what?
So don't you post the
1 plus 0,08 to the exponent. How many years is it from T3 to T8? So they have considered the whole 13,500. Okay. You guys understand? So if 13,500 rand was left into the account over the 8-year period, that's what's gonna have, what you'll have left on that amount. Can you see that, people? Any confusion so far? Yes. What did I teach you, Michael? That is what you're allowed to do. I was not teach you something and then penalize you in the exam. What kind of girl are you then? Right. People? Now we're going to consider that 25,700. Right, so what's going to happen here? Can I take that to the end? No. Where do we need to ground it first at? E3. And then we can take it to the end. Not so. Individually. I think. So what do we say? Plus or minus? Plus 25,700 into, people settle down, into 1 plus 0.09 to the exponent 1 into 1 plus 0.08 to the exponent. You guys got it? Now what? Now we consider this to the end. So it's minus what? 18,400 into 1 plus 0.08 to the exponent. Okay, work that out. Alright, so let's go with it. 13,500 into 1 plus 0.09, so it's 1.09 to the exponent 3 times or into 1.08 to the exponent plus 25,700 into 1.09 to the exponent 1 times 1.08 to the exponent minus 18,400 into 1.08 to the exponent 3. I get 43,600 and 69 rand and 69 cents. Do you guys understand? For homework, I would like you guys to do exercise 12.8, the odd numbers. People enjoy your weekend and the rest of the day. Good morning, class.